Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. I hope the international break is treating you okay off the back of a win at Molineux and a win at Ellen Road. Leeds back-to-back wins makes this international break with the sun added just a little bit better, doesn't it? But we've got some news to talk about today. Leeds United's Brazilian superstar Raphinha is in the news. He's in the headlines. He's everywhere, and he has been sort of now I'd say about a year, 12 months, potentially even 18 months, really. I mean, as soon as he joined Leeds, really, there were rumours after his first couple of games on how good he was and where he could fit in at all these elite sides. And it's naturally going to happen, isn't it? I mean, when you're looking at the summer, you're looking at how many teams are going to be moving players on, but they're looking at that next step. They're looking at building a side. I look at Bayern Munich in that realm. I look at Barcelona in that realm. I look at PSG in that realm. And when you're looking at Raphinha, he's not only done it in the Premier League for Leeds United, the amount of goal contributions in 2 years has been absolutely staggering. You look at last season, and Raphinha was only second to Bruno Fernandes in terms of goal contributions in such a short space of time. This guy has been getting the notoriety for a long time now. He's becoming a little bit of a global superstar. He's got the World Cup coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see how Leeds United play this. You're asking me a direct question. Do I think Raphinha will be at Leeds United next season? I'm going to go with a no. And the reason behind that is because I do think Raphinha should be challenging for the top four. I do think Raphinha should be, in my opinion, challenging for league titles. I think he's that good. I think, don't get me wrong, there's been a little bit of a drop-off at Leeds, but I think even you look at the standout performances in the past 2 or 3 months, you probably throw in West Ham there, you probably throw in Norwich to an extent, and he has been absolutely phenomenal. And his time at Leeds, you've got to turn around and say has been absolutely extraordinary. If we didn't have Raphinha's goals and his assists this season, Leeds United would be bottom of the division, bottom 2 at least. He's been imperative, not only this season but last season as well, with his contribution for this starting 11 and this club. So it's been an incredible journey. I'm not saying it's done. I'm not, but I do look at this summer. I look at how the makeup is going to be designed with this Leeds United setup under Jesse Marsch. You look at the formation, it's going to be compact, it's going to be narrow. You look at the Jesse Marsch philosophy, it's not all about playing out wide. I think we're going to see huge developments on that in the summer. So Raphinha, really, even if we were looking at a replacement for him, I don't think Leeds go for a winger. I think you look at someone who's going to fit in that attacking midfield role, and you look at someone like a Brendan Aronson, who's played under Jesse Marsch before, played with him, at RB Salzburg, and someone who would fit into our system, this pressy system, this aggressive pressy system, who are narrow and compact. So I think all the signs are that Raphinha does move on. I think his trajectory is going to soar. I think you're going to see him lighting up the World Cup, in my opinion. I think you've already seen when he's been on international duty for Brazil, the Uruguay game stands out, that he's been absolutely mesmeric. So I think it's all now just about how Leeds play it, the value that Leeds get for this guy, because that is where this is going to be won and lost in terms of the fans' perspectives on Leeds United. They've got rid of a darling in Marcelo Bielsa, which was the biggest move the club has made in many years. And now this is our best player. He is our best player. He, in my opinion, as I've said earlier on, has kept us in the division this year. So it's all about strategically how Leeds play this out. We have to get as much value as possible for this guy. Many rumours are circulating on the internet today saying the reason Raphinha hasn't signed a new contract, it's ultimately because he's not happy at £70 million release clause in there. For you guys who don't know what a release clause is, this is what clubs have to match for that parent club to be able to sell that individual on. There's one in place with Erling Haaland at the minute at Dortmund. I believe it's 70-80 million, and it's looking like Manchester City are going to be triggering that in the summer. So as soon as that's triggered, as we seen with Jack Grealish as well, £100 million release clause, as soon as that's triggered, that's an automatic acceptance of an offer. So this is something that is I believe something that Leeds need to keep in Raphinha's contract, even if he's not going to accept another contract offer. I think we've got to play hardball here. And him keeping Leeds in the Premier League is absolutely imperative. So we've got to still see that high level of performance. But so that's going to be something to take into consideration, because is he going to down tool if Leeds don't budge on this offer? And a lot of you guys might say, well, why would he do it now? Well, the interest from Barcelona looks like it's really been kicking on. Apparently talks have happened with Deco and Laporta at Barcelona. So obviously Deco used to be part of the Barcelona setup as well, so he'll have great links there. You can't imagine Raphinha would turn down an offer like Barcelona as well when you look at the amount of Brazilians who've played there in the past as well. Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho. There is Brazilian heritage at Barcelona. Not, and then you look at it and there's a resurgence under Xavi at the minute. 4-0 win at Real Madrid at the weekend. So you feel like he would slot perfectly into that setup. But as I've said at the start, it's all about what Leeds do and what Leeds can get in terms of value for this guy, because we have to sell on an asset. That's happened with all the top clubs. You look at a prime example when they came up for the Championship of selling on a top asset. It's Leicester. You look at N'Golo Kante, players of that ilk, Riyad Mahrez, Harry Maguire. It has to happen at some point. All the money just can't be streamed into Leeds United through the San Francisco 49ers, Andrea Radrizzani, and TV rights and broadcasting rights. That's not going to be enough, unfortunately. The running costs of Leeds United are sky high. The wages are now sky high. The contracts that have been given out on the back of the successes of last year. Leeds need to make a sell, in my opinion, this year. And if you're asking me who I would rather keep hold of in terms of Calvin Phillips and Raphinha, it would probably be Calvin Phillips on the basis that I think the system is going to change to benefit Calvin Phillips over Raphinha. I think you're probably going to look at Brendan Aronson coming in my opinion. I think that's going to happen in my thought process. That's already done. That's what I think, and he's probably going to be coming to Leeds in the summer. So that's probably going to be a direct replacement. You look at the business that Villa did on the back of selling Jack Grealish. It wasn't really on the back of selling him. They were doing all the business beforehand. So Leeds are probably very aware. They were very aware that Jesse Marsch was going to come in for Marcelo Bielsa at some stage. They are very aware of Brendan Aronson. Obviously, Leeds tried to sign him in January, so he's probably going to come in. And they are very aware that the player that, based on the system that Leeds are going to go into, that is more likely to leave and it's probably more acceptable for him to leave, would be Raphinha. And I think if you're asking yourself as a Leeds fan, who would you rather stay, Raphinha or Calvin Phillips? It'd be an interesting question in terms of ability and game match winning. It'd be Raphinha, but I think as we've learned with Leeds fans, it's all about the system. It really is, and that's something that the Leeds players are going to have to adhere to going forward under Jesse Marsch. So it's going to be fascinating to see what goes on in the future. If you just look at this, this came out from Sport this morning. Barcelona have submitted a first offer of 35 million euros to Leeds United for Raphinha. Now that's 29 million quid. That is ridiculous. And you've seen on several publications this morning that is the first offer. They're going to have to get higher and higher and higher for that. And it's not, I understand keeping Raphinha happy and him not accepting a contract because Leeds are not willing to lower that release clause. Something I'd said on this channel months ago. He's not going to sign a new contract because, Leeds aren't going to lower that for him, but Leeds have to be stubborn there. Leeds have to keep this release clause in there, and we have to be stubborn with the valuation. If you're asking me what I think he would go for, I think it's probably going to be about 50 million quid. That's what I think. I think there's going to be bonuses in there. What's 50 million quid? 57, 60 million euros. That's what, I don't know where Barca are getting this money from, by the way, but I think there's definitely a link there with Deco and all the Brazilians who've done so well at Barcelona and just the prestige of Barcelona. I think that's probably the more likelihood. It's between them and PSG, but I think Rafa would probably pick Barcelona. I think we all would, wouldn't we? So I think it'll be 50 million quid, and I think there's going to be bonuses in there. If he gets to a certain amount of games for Brazil, if he does this or that, the other, there's going to be a sell-on clause in there as well. So I think that's definitely to keep an eye on. Leeds getting a percentage of that sell-on clause, obviously, but yeah, I think there's just going to be a lot of bonuses in there for Raphinha, for Leeds off the back of Raphinha. So yeah, and that's maybe where it stumps up the offer a little bit more. But I think the original fee is probably going to be around 50 million quid. That's what I would anticipate. And where's this all come from? Fabrizio Romano, obviously a very good journalist, broken several Leeds stories in the past. Barca have been working on Raphinha as summer target for weeks. He's one of the names in the list, and the player would be happy to join Barca. Talks already started with his agent Deco, who's close to Laporta. Nothing yet being discussed between the clubs and Leeds, and that's obviously from managing Barca, who say FC Barca in the race to sign Raphinha from Leeds. it's not a shock to me at all. I'm not looking at it and thinking, wow. I'm more just thinking of how much Leeds can get for him and praying that we're able to get a good amount for him. Bearing in mind, we bought him for 18 million. So we need to get we need, for me, we need to be tripling his value there for what he's done for Leeds, for what he's showcased in the Premier League, for us making him a Brazilian international. I think he'd have got to that stage anyway, but Leeds having put him on that pedestal, taking a risk on him. You know, it obviously was a risk. You know, it's a lot of money, and Leeds went to Rennes and put the offer down and got him over, and he's developed as a player under Marcelo Bielsa. You know, the amount of yards he runs, the amount of sprints he has. Don't get me wrong, that's on Raphinha as an individual and his makeup and his DNA, as Roy Keane would put it. But Marcelo Bielsa has instilled that work ethic in him as well. He's demanded that work ethic in him, and Raphinha will take that going forward. And that's what's perked the ears of players like clubs like Liverpool as well, and clubs like Bayern Munich, because they work in an aggressive press. You know, under Nagelsmann and under Jurgen Klopp, they work in that aggressive press, and it's a seamless transition from going to Leeds, and that effort level. You know, how many kilometers you put in on a match day to what you would be doing at Liverpool. It's an easy transition, but you just be with better players. So yeah, loads to take into consideration for this one. I think it will get done to Barcelona, to be quite honest with you guys. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you happy? Are you annoyed by this? What valuation do you think you should be going for? We'll have your Dominic Matteo podcast out this week, which I know you guys will absolutely love. We've got loads more things that I'm thinking about doing over the next coming days as well, which you'll enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. As always, guys, have a great